Oh my gosh, welcome to the ASC Colony live stream. Brendan, it seems like it's been forever since I've been on.
It's been a couple weeks. That's not so much forever, but maybe.
It feels like just because it has been 2 weeks since I've been on. And me and you really haven't talked in a while either because you've been on a little mini vacation.
That's true.
Go see some friends and family up in your old stomping grounds up in Illinois.
Yeah, something like that.
So, how was your trip, by the way?
It was good. It was restful. I needed it. I'm glad I went.
Got some much R&R. Much needed R&R.
We got a message already, but it's from somebody here.
Richard Brown.
Well, we're glad you could catch it. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm really glad he's on too.
Yeah, definitely.
So, real quick, you'll notice that I have a friend here. Real quick, she did some good things today, and I told her that one of her a reward for her would be to give us a few oceanic facts at the top of our show. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
I am Adrian, and well, I'm 7 years old, about to go to third grade.
You don't have to give them your life story, Adrian. All right. You're going to read off some ocean facts for us real quick?
Okay.
All right. I got them right here for you. You can read these 5 right here real quick.
Okay. Around 97% of all the waters is in the ocean, and they covered around 71% of Earth's surface.
Okay. What's the next one?
Pacific Ocean is the biggest one.
Pacific Ocean is the biggest ocean. Did you know they added a new ocean?
What?
National Geographic says that now there's a 5th ocean. There used to only be 4. Back in my day, there was only 4.
4 oceans?
There's Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, and Arctic. Now they're saying there's the Southern Ocean.
Oh.
So you're growing up in a completely different world. Okay, how about this one?
Okay. You can find mountains and volcanoes at the bottom of the ocean.
Volcanoes and mountains at the bottom of the ocean. How about this one?
The deepest point in the ocean is the
Mariana
Trench.
Yeah. And then that's the last one for you.
Okay.
That's oceanic.
Oceanic
evaporations
is a source of most rainfall.
So thank you for sharing that information with us. We always like to learn more stuff about the ocean. That's part of our job here at the ASC Colony live stream, so we're really glad that you could join us.
Thank you, Adrian.
If you discover some other facts, maybe we'll have you back on sometime. And if you clean your room and all that. Okay? All right. I'm going to have you go back upstairs now, okay?
Okay.
Say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, baby.
You're welcome, Dad.
All right, go. That was fun. That was cute. Look at that. All right, go.
So what are we up to, Adam? Are you going to be on next week?
I think next week is the last week of T-ball for me. So next week I won't be, but then we're back to our regular scheduled programming.
Right.
So, you know, Babe can, be a part of this, but he cannot fully take my spot. So I know he likes it, and we're glad to have him, but you just can't replace the Adster,
Okay.
So yeah, buddy, you had a little vacation. We haven't talked in like 4 days, and that's pretty unusual for us to not send each other stupid pictures and stuff every day. But
I needed to get away from everything and everybody, and so that's why I did.
Wow, okay. I didn't realize that was part of your stress, but whatever. So that's cool, I guess. But yeah, so today you said you kind of had a theme, you kind of had an idea, you wanted to talk about the future.
Well, I think, it's one of those things where, we don't talk enough about underwater habitats, and that's basically what we're here to talk about primarily anyway, is let's build an underwater habitat, and that's what Atlantis Sea Colony. That's what we're doing. So in the meantime, while we're doing that, and at the end of the show, I do want to talk a little bit more about Atlantis Sea Colony. But before we get there, I thought it'd be fun to maybe engaging if we just thought a little bit about what the next, 10, 20, 50 years looks like as we progress, and where we're going to be with underwater habitats in that time frame. So it's more like a thought experiment, I guess.
Okay.
So I figure we could start, maybe like the near future, like 10 years from now. And I'll let you guess and put your feedback in first. I got notes and stuff like that I made up, but yeah.
Like, so you're saying, what do I think 10 years of oceanic habitation would be?
Yeah, like from now, in 10 years, where do you think we'll be?
Us as Atlantis Sea Colony?
No, just
or just that, like the.
Yes.
Okay. I think.
And before you go, anybody out there in the comments, I'd love to hear your feedback too. As we go through this, we're looking at 10 years, 20 years, and then wherever. So if you've got thoughts about where you think we're going to be, you either wait or you can go ahead and chime in too. So go ahead, Adam.
So I think in 10 years, I don't think, in my opinion, is really all that far away. So I think we're not going to be in a drastically different place. However, I do think, oh, thanks, Scott, jerk.
I mean, no, maybe not. Who knows? That's what we're having this conversation.
I think that there will be a few startups, kind of like what we're doing, will be there. We'll have something started, but I think as a large, overwhelmingly large business, I guess, I think it'll still be in its like early stages yet. You know what I mean? Like, I think people will still be learning what they want to do. They'll still be learning what all can be done with it. I don't know. It'll be, I think, the exciting point of it, because everybody will be like, okay, we've got it done. People have done it. Hopefully we're the ones that do it. And then it'll be like, okay, so what can we start utilizing this for? Like, what all can we do with this? And I mean, I know it's not tied directly in with us, but watching like kind of what the seasteading community is doing too, like I think they're gonna find out what their thing is too, like what all can be used in that. And I mean, they're in the same situation as us in the very early stages, and but our whole thing has always been, once we get started, once we can prove that we can do this, then that's when the fun begins, because it's like, all right, now that we've shown that we can do this, now people will start, applying that to what they can do.
Yeah.
What they'd like to do.
Yeah, I was along the same. My thinking was similar. I say, I fear there'll probably be a company or two out there that's building underwater habitats of some sort. They're going to be still only accessible via scuba diving at this point in time, and still only be about 1 to 2 atmospheres of pressure. So it's going to be still, like they're saying, the infancy of underwater habitats. Yes, there will be some more out there besides Aquarius and Jules, but it's going to be very similar to Aquarius and Jules in their structure and their depths and all that kind of stuff. So basically, just duplicating what's already out there.
Yeah. Because the foundation, in a sense, has already been set, but right. Just the amount, or like the size of the foundation, maybe is a better way of putting it. Like, yeah, there's been a few that have done it, but it's still something that you kind of have to learn as you do it, because it's only been done by a few people. Like when you think of a lot of other technologies or like ideas that people have, say, for example, like the electric car, at one point that was probably considered really crazy, but then the more people talked about it, then a bunch of people wanted to try it. And like, so it has a huge foundation. Like a lot of people are doing electric vehicles and stuff. So even though it's a revolutionary thing, a lot of people are in on it all at once. A lot of people have the capabilities of it. Whereas like underwater habitation has only been done by a couple people. I shouldn't say a couple, but like handfuls of groups or whatever, where like, even though it's been accomplished, it was still only kind of a narrow, I guess, a group of people that tackled it.
We got a comment here from Richard and Glenn here. Let's go ahead and throw Richard's up there real quick.
He said, I would like to add, as reception is spotty at best, and the live cat is choppy. I'm assuming that means something else. One thing I found as a current issue is vegetable growth in the blue water is absolutely affected by the salty air environment and constant sunlight. I'd like to give you a better report on my garden, or report, I'm assuming, but I'm really having a rough go of getting large vegetables to grow. Rooting vegetables is doing fine, though. Because Richard's the one like out kind of just living his best life out in the sea right now.
Yeah, pretty much, man. So,
heck yeah.
Let me reread this here. It is, so the salt content, I guess, is causing the growth to be, I guess, slowed down or stopped, I guess, in some form. That's interesting. So I guess I can see that. Yeah. So, but I guess if you were in a protected environment where that salt water wasn't affecting you, it was purified. Interesting. All right, that's interesting. That's especially if you're like you said, if you're above the water dealing with trying to grow anything, that's really important. Yeah, that's cool. What's Glenn got to say?
Glenn says 10 years, 5 to 10 exploratory habitats, 15 to 20 resort areas underwater, and mineral exploration and resources being mined, medicine being processed. 50 years will be what we now dream of, ability to breathe from water, process life needed necessities, and the move back to the sea will be in full swing, I hope. Very cool.
Very cool. Yeah, so, going on that point, going back to what you were saying there, Adam, I think, up till now, it's always been designed around and purposed for the science community. So being lush and comfortable, or Airbnb, has never been in the idea of the design process of the thing. And I think moving forward, that's where you're going to start seeing the new ones come up, because the science aspect, we've got that down. We can build science underwater habitats, but to build the ones designed for rest and relaxation, and some of those things haven't been done before. We've got Jules, which is retrofitted from a science lab to do that purpose. So yeah, that's where I see it. And when I'm talking about, I think Glenn is pretty spot on there as far as some of his stuff too. Which then, do you have anything else to talk about the 10 years, or do you want to move on to 20?
No, I think just to tie into what Glenn was saying, one thing I didn't think about is, a lot of the news articles that we post do talk about the mineral mining, the underwater mineral mining, and I think that's going to be tied pretty closely to what we're trying to do, because that in a sense is like fairly, I don't want to say new, but like people are still exploring all the different options with that, like underwater mining. So, that's kind of tying into the growth of what we're trying to do, and could be utilized in that field as well. Like you think a lot of times, I think that, say, like these people that live out in like the oil rigs out in the ocean, that like they have to live and work out there, so if we're doing a lot of work that involves being underwater, would it make sense to have an underwater work environment, underwater habitat for that? Like, whereas if you're going to be out there for a long time, or if it makes sense to be out there for a long time, you'll want to have a place to live. So, there's a lot of different things. And granted, we can no longer use the term that only 5% of the ocean's mapped, because a lot of stuff's coming out now saying they're like at 20-something%. Still, there's a large amount that's not.
Yeah.
But I foresee that being a part of the exploration of it too. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to add on to what he was saying with the mining thing, because that's going to be a big deal, I think, going in the future too.
So all right, then give me your 20-year prediction.
20-year, I think we'll see that, going off of what we were saying, that say a company like ours, or if some of these other guys that are working on the same type of thing, if let's just say we all become successful, I think is what we're going to see is more, say like vacation resorts wanting to get involved in it. Whereas like, if you have that oceanside resort, say like in Panama and the Caribbean and wherever, these places, the Philippines, places with beautiful water, you're going to see a lot of them want to cash in on it, because how cool would it be to be in the most beautiful water on earth and like being under it, being able to see it up close and personal. So you're going to see that, I think, is that a lot of big businesses or big vacation type businesses are going to want to cash in on that. Because like I said, after that, we've proved that it can do it. After we prove that we can manufacture it, after all that, I think a lot of people, I envision it being something that they can call us up, or get on our website, whatever, and order a habitat, and boom, it's getting delivered to these places, and there's a whole process to it. That's what I foresee. And like I said, same with people are going to utilize them for. I think that's going to be the big thing. My personal belief is I think that's going to be the big thing, is the having it be a vacation type deal. But I do think people will be able to utilize it for industry, as far as like work and, say we could get into the science field too, give it, the possibilities are endless. But yeah, 20 years I think is a much different and much more, will be much more established by then.
Yeah. And Brian's chiming in here for the 10 years here. He's saying that he thinks that we're going to be have the basic blueprints for at least one basic livable unit. So yeah, I think that the interesting thing that none of us have talked at any, I haven't put this on Patreon. This is just something I came up with over the weekend, and we haven't talked at all. Glenn, Brian, none of us have talked, and we're all very similar on our viewpoints on this. And as I'm looking over my points for the 20 years from now, it's interesting. The things you're saying, the things Glenn's saying, we're very spot on. What's Richard got to say here?
He's still responding from the last one. So he was talking about the vegetation out there. And for people that don't know, Richard, he's like, what kind of boat? What kind of is he?
I don't remember.
Anyways, he's like just out by himself in the ocean, just sailing. I don't know if it's sailing. Is it sailing? I don't know. He'll let us know. But anyways, he's just out by himself, just living by himself on his boat and just traveling across the ocean. Anyway, so he was saying, it dries out the leaves rapidly, which need constant clipping for optimal photosynthesis versus distribution of nutrients to the plant itself. I'm actually heading for the Caribbean for hurricane season to provide assistance to hard-hit areas, since I can produce my own drinkable bottled water and electricity with backup electric capability stowed away. She's a strong stormwater vessel, but totally capable of self-sustainability. If I can get this garden thing locked down. And then...
And sorry, Richard, it looks like either the comment was too long or something, and the rest of it didn't come through, so if you can finish that up, that'd be great. And then
Glenn said, and he agrees with me, instead of electric cars, we'll be getting underwater habitats.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll have both in 20 years.
That's true.
I hope I have a cool electric car. Everybody up here makes fun of me for that, by the way. Like, I think it's a Midwest thing that, like, it's such a laughable thing up here to have an electric car.
Midwest laughs you about everything, though.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to trash on where I'm from, but they hate wind turbines and electric cars up here. That's just our thing, I guess. Anyways, as you were saying.
Yeah, so what I had for 20 years was very similar. I said in 20 years it's going to be common destination for like vacationers, access. I think at that point in time we're going to have ways that you don't have to longer scuba dive down to it, so it's open to the general population, whether it's a submersible docking system of an elevator or like a hyperloop based tunnel system to get down to it. I think there's going to be different avenues for getting to that. That we'll get to that. I even perceive that the ultra rich maybe even have some as like their own private like summer home or vacation home at that point in time too. And what was said, businesses will either be operating a portion of their business in underwater habitats or highly investigating how to get involved in this trend that'll be starting to ramp up at that point in time.
Yep. Yeah, because there's so many variables that go on in the world today, and I'll bring that up in my 50-year comment, but just being able to have, if you can move to the water, live underwater, whatever, your real estate options expand exponentially, so yeah, that gives a whole lot of new options, and especially for the people that are more adventurous and stuff that want to try this out. So I'm right there with you on that.
Yeah. Glenn's comment about they wouldn't have to test drove a Tesla. Still, my dream car. I'm gonna have one day.
You just need your Tesla stock to go up so you can buy one.
There is that too. Go ahead and jump into 50 years then, Adam.
So I think 50 years, we're gonna see. Well, maybe we won't. Who knows? We probably won't be around in 50 years.
I will be.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that you're gonna see 2100 or whatever. Anyways, hopefully I'll see 80-something years old, and I got some in my eye. Please hold. I think that's when we're gonna start seeing. Oh, I hate it when that happens. Someone upstairs is jumping like an elephant. I have a good point to this. Sorry. That's when I think people are going to start experimenting with communities, and maybe you start seeing like your first underwater town, your first underwater city. Maybe your first, you start having to think about how does an underwater community run. Say it's off on its own. Say you're not within a country's borders and you're technically out on your own. Can you set up your own self-sustaining government and self-sustaining economy and, all that stuff in a completely underwater community? Because that's one of the things we envision. Not necessarily, we're not necessarily planning on building cities, but like we've talked a lot about like connectability with the habitats, where like you can connect multiple habitats together to create a large one, or having some just interchangeability with them, to where you can, say have a big habitat for a big community habitat and smaller ones. Like say if you did want to make a hotel. So that's kind of what I see being in the experimental stages in 50 years. I think just in 50 years, the people on this planet are going to start realizing we have to adapt to different things. Like a lot of people are already thinking now, like, okay, the future of humanity is not necessarily on this planet anymore. Where, and then, some people are going to say, well, a lot of people are already moving to Mars or whatever. which, so many years ago was the craziest thing to think of. But I mean, it's within grasp right now, just about. And then same with underwater habitation is it's like once you see that become a thing, once you see like the seasteading community become a thing, that opens up a lot of things because people talk about climate change and global warming, whatever, all this stuff. And so I think there's going to be a divide of people that maybe they do want to move out to the ocean. Maybe that's going to help protect the ocean. Maybe that, getting a community out on the ocean helps keep it clean, keeps it sustained, and, whatever. And like I said, you'll have those people that are just like, we're just going to leave the planet, which, whatever, that's fine. But I think underwater habitation or just oceanic habitation is going to be one of the options for humanity's growth in 50 years.
Yeah, I didn't even try to touch it because 50 years is so far out that if you look back 50 years at the changes in society and technology in the last 50 years, the S curve that's going to be with this stuff is we're like right now, and it's going to take off and just shoot up, and so who knows in 50 years? I mean, it could be 30 years and we'll have full cities already just because the technology takes off and shoots up and everybody starts moving that way, whether it is mining, which could be a huge one. So we start finding, either in medical and mining, if those two really turn off and we start seeing great yields from those, that's really going to push that drive to being out there, which will then open up so much more. So yeah, 50 years it could either still be a slow grow and we're just still figuring it all out and there's more and more companies doing it because or we could be shot up there. We got habitats at 300 feet underwater, 500 feet underwater, whole colonies existing, people staying down there a year at a time. As Brian even commented, technology doubles on itself. And because of that, I think it's difficult to, once again, we're just guessing on all this stuff. But when you get that far out, I think it's crazy to even try to think of it.
Yeah, and I sound like such an old person when I say it, but like you think in the past 20 years, just how much advancement we've already made. Like in just 20 years alone, like a cell phone used to be huge. Maybe 20 years ago, they were starting to slim down a little bit, but still. So now you have your whole world on a phone. I mean, the world revolves around having smartphones now. And you think about computers, like the computers that were running 20 years ago were twice as powerful as the ones running 40 years ago, and so all that is just advancement upon advancement. So you never would have thought 20 years ago watching, rocket launches that somebody was going to try to land one. You know what I mean? Like that there was going to be reusable rockets. So, or maybe people were starting to think about it, but still, you know what I mean? So 20 years really isn't that long a time in the grand scheme of things, and the amount of stuff that can just advance from there is pretty incredible. Real quick, Richard Brown says, "Apologies, I lost the sound in the live feed, but my goal in seasteading, or my goal is seasteading, or my goal in seasteading is the logistics between colonies. That's why I'm honing my skills in extreme storm sailing while maintaining a self-sustainable lifestyle on the water's surface. Key to trade." Again, apologies, I can't hear the live cast. Text and video are all that are coming through. Okay.
Here's what I'll say about Richard. I absolutely love the fact that he is putting his money in his mouth in the same place and actually out there doing it. He's not sitting there. He's actually doing something about it. And what, that in itself is a success. And, everything he's going to learn, whether it's in his lifetime or not, is vital to the seasteading movement. And any of us that are trying to live outside of our comfortable day-to-day life, whether it's in space, underwater, or on the water.
Mm-hmm. Glenn Sayre says, one man's vision will become another man's reality. I have lived long enough to actually see it with my own eyes.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, even when you think about, like, back in the day, a long time ago, like, being a hermit meant that you were going to live without technology, right?
Yeah.
Like, at one point, it was just like, all right,
There's
you
some
live in,
crazy
like,
old man living in a rock under some bush.
yeah, you were just some, like, weirdo that's living in the middle of the woods with nothing. You know what I mean? Like, you live like a caveman. But now it's like, you see people now that they can get internet out in the middle of nowhere. They have, you know, solar panels or whatever it is to power a house, cabin, whatever it is. They grow their own food, and it's just like, you can live a very normal lifestyle and still be a hermit, and self-sustainability is much easier to do now than it was at one point. Like, if you wanted to be a hermit, like I said, at one point in time, it's like, well, I'm going to sacrifice, clean running water, and I'm going to sacrifice electricity. I'm going to, plumbing, whatever. So it's just like, now you don't have to sacrifice all that stuff. You can buy a plot of land in the middle of nowhere, and there are plenty of options for you to still live a very normal life with just space, and you can be amongst nature rather than, the hustle and bustle of city life, I guess you could say.
And that's one of the other appeals to, living on or below the water is whether it is a political thing, whether it is a minimalist thing, whether it's just you're tired of society thing, it is an answer to you that is becoming more and more attractive. At my dad's bookstore, we have people all the time looking for, prepping or living off the grid and all that kind of stuff because it's becoming so popular. And there's a whole entire niche aspect of, especially here in America, of people wanting to do that.
Mm. Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of reasons people are driven to do it. There's people that are like, like you said, for political reasons, would be like, I'm tired of having to pay the city for my electricity and my water, or, maybe in certain places it's super expensive to pay for those like utilities, or, there's certain people that it's just fun to them, to be able to just live solo, to, just having that challenge. I mean, I would like to be able to, I always, everybody has that, like, oh, if I won the lottery type situation, and I always think like, oh man, if I won the lottery for, like, not that I need one, but I would probably like build a bunker, you know what I mean? Like, it just see like if I could set up a type of thing to be self-sustaining, even if you're like super rich, you know what I mean? Like, it's like having the access and the ability to do that. And again, it doesn't take crazy amounts of money anymore to be like that. There's so many options for doing that,
and to your point, you're talking about bunkers and so along those lines, because they're coming common, the prices come down, the technologies have come down, everything like that. Same thing with underwater habitats. As we start building them, the technologies will surround it, the price will come down, and they'll become more and more affordable.
Yep. Yeah. So, there's companies already out there that their whole thing is they build prefabricated like fallout shelters and stuff like that. It's insane, but I mean, there's companies that do it and they make money doing it. And obviously, in order for them to make money, they're getting their supplies and materials and all that. So the same thing's going to happen with what we're doing.
Yeah. I like Richard's comment. Go ahead and throw that up there.
He said, reading the comments, I wonder if Lewis and Clark ventured out west, or Native Americans, or any other human colonization movement ever faced the vibe of, well, it's never going to happen in my lifetime. Yeah, it's so weird to think about that, because it's like, it's so long ago. But like, when you think about controversial type statement here, but like when the European settlers came to North America, I mean, all they really had was the East Coast in the very beginning, like this was all crazy for them to think of anything that was like west of, I don't know, west of like that Ohio area or whatever. That's probably way off, but you know what I mean? Like the Louisiana Purchase and all that, when they had the Lewis and Clark expeditions, like to a lot of those people, it was, a whole new type of world, exploring it, and just, that probably got them excited, because the possibilities and stuff that were out there.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and let you do this other comment from him real quick, and I'll make a comment on that.
Said colonizers can't be bettered with this sentiment, because we would never left the patch of dirt we started on. That's right.
So I think the only difference anymore is that because the world has become so small because of technology and all that kind of stuff, there's nowhere here on the earth, even in the seasteaders or even underwater, we will never face the hardships that they did, unless you're doing space. Like those who are going to Mars would be the closest to that, just because we can at any point in time return back to the land.
Mm-hmm.
After tuck our tails and run, per se. We're not burning our ships, and maybe we should. I don't know, but yeah, subject for another time perhaps. But it's nice to think about, which then brings me back to when I was thinking about this topic is like, why talk about the future? Why fantasize about this? I'm sure people will say like, well, you're wasting time, just talking about hypotheticals and things that could be and something along those lines. But it's fun,
mm-hmm.
and it's okay to have fun every once in a while. But at the same time, creativity breeds ingenuity, and if it hadn't been for dreaming and thinking crazy, ASC never would have been started, because it was me watching sci-fi and thinking, holy cow, why can't we have this future? Why can't this exist? And why can't I do it? And so it's that dreaming, that fantasizing, and these conversations too, which you never know what somebody's going to say in here that clicks off in somebody's brain and be like, holy cow, yes, that's right. Or I need to change and I need to do this, just because of somebody's other fanciful thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think most successful businesses aren't just working in the moment. They're constantly talking about what's going to be the next thing. What are we going to do next? So it's like, yeah, you could face the criticism from some people, be like, hey, you guys haven't even gotten one thing in the water yet, which obviously is true. But at the same time, if we don't envision what it could be down the road, then I don't want to be put in a spot where it's like, say, when we get this first one done, because I mean, it is going to happen, is that I don't want to be put in that spot of, okay, well, now what? I want to be ready to keep moving. We got the first thing done. What's the next thing? How do we get it? How do we get it better? How do we make it easier? How do we make it, whatever? Then it's like, how do we make a bigger one? And how do we connect these? How do we, transport these things easier? How do we make, whatever it is? That's, if you're not constantly thinking about what else, then, I mean, you're setting yourself up to be a failed project and a failed business.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, throw Glenn's comment up there.
Those folks were never mentioned in history books or made an imprint on exploration and adventure. That's right.
Very true.
They're going to be talking about Brendan Traxler in history books one of these days. They'll be like,
Well, I don't know all that, but that's not the reason I'm doing any of this. That's a good segue, Adam, because we talked about this, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about Atlantic Sea Colony, because we don't talk enough about Atlantic Sea Colony on here, I feel. And that's okay. It doesn't need to be every show we talk about it, but I think
we're not self-centered.
Well, there's only so much you can say before people get bored with beating the same old drum. But when we looked at the designs of Atlantic Sea Colony fall in line with everything we've just been talking about. Modular, I think, is the key thing that we have to focus on, because with modular, it allows for all those different layers, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. All those can fall under that because of the growth potential from it at the ease of design, and therefore all in turn the cost benefits, because you can slowly add on more sections. So you start off with your main living one, and then what Richard's finding out, you can add on an agriculture pod, and then so maybe you want to you're starting to store your own energy. So you got a whole entire pod that's just full of like batteries and so forth and so on. From the business standpoint, you have a whole entire complex that all it is batteries and energy generation that can supply batteries to a bunch of other little habitats. So the modular approach solves so many different aspects and can be configured for whatever your needs may be. And so that's one thing that Atlantic Sea Colony, and there's some others out there that are taking the modular approach, because I think they see that too, that is the answer for growth, and to do it at start on a lower cost too.
Yeah, boy.
Okay, I don't know if you have anything. The other thing with Atlantic Sea Colony and the way I see it is that we can handle both the private and the business sector too, whether it is the diving community or tourism, vacationers, private homes like we talked about too, because once again, go back to that design element, it can encompass any need, whether in the business sector, whether it is once again scientific research, energy production, data centers, survival shelters. Even you could have the ultimate survival shelter out in the middle of the water somewhere that most people aren't going to know where it's at. It'll be very hard to get to. And the nice thing too about being underwater is you're protected from like EMP blasts too. So if you get some crazy thing to take out the electrical grid, you're still cool and safe down there because the water is shielding you from that and from a bunch of other stuff too.
Such a specific thing to.
Well, I'm saying, it could be. I'm saying EMP, biological, all that kind of stuff. If you're producing your own oxygen and stuff on those lines,
that's how we should advertise it. The Atlantic Sea Colony.
Are you scared of EMP blast? Are you afraid of EMP?
We'll have our own infomercials. Be like, are you tired of those pesky EMP blasts? So yeah, I mean, thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, it's no matter what, it's going to be so crazy and weird in the beginning because there's going to be so many like, okay, we didn't think about that, or oh crap, we got to fix this, we got to adjust this next time, we got to make up for this, or if we're going to do XYZ, we need to do ABC. It's all of that comes into play, but I think once again, going back on, there's been so many innovations in just about every field of technology to where I believe there's a solution to every problem that we're going to run into. It's just a matter of, we have to just kind of come across it. But yeah, I mean, we just got to get the first one in there and we're in the money. Maybe not actual money, but like,
yeah, I guess I think that
we're in the success.
Whether it sinks or swims,
literally.
Literally. It's a learning thing.
Swimming again.
Yeah, I mean, whether the thing goes down there and people get in there, or it fills up with water, and we have to haul out a water-filled box. We learn from it and we keep on going. So it's exciting and it's fun. And it's scary, and I just can't wait to get moving forward. Mm-hmm. Because it is a unexplored. It's not an unexplored world, but it's a world that just because of whatever reason nobody's doing it or having a hard time doing it, and I'm ready for that challenge.
Yeah. Because even if we can't do it, we're going to find people to join us that can do it.
Yeah. Like I said, there's, once again, with all the different companies out there that are trying to do it, it's going to happen. It will be a nice big old friendly rendezvous under the sea.
Like Sebastian from Little Mermaid.
Pretty much. What's Richard saying over here?
He says, true, Glenn. Those that crossed the Bering Strait to North America are the ones that left Africa to Europe. Never mentioned, not their trials and tribulations. And the ocean offers so many different scenarios to have to be worked out for sustainability, as I'm often finding out in real time. So, We need to get Richard down here. We need to work out a time to where
That's
he's
gonna be hard. He's gonna be at sea. It's gonna be hard to get him on.
Well, he did say a little ways back that he's where did he say he was going for hurricane season? Caribbean. So I don't know if he's going to
Caribbean.
Caribbean? I think it's Caribbean.
I've heard of both ways.
Caribbean. Caribbean.
Anyway, but yeah.
Caribbean.
Anyway, so yeah, I think that was 45 minutes of talking about dreaming and everybody inputting. I think it was a good time.
The best of times.
You got anything else you want to throw in there, Adam?
I don't.
Anybody out there? You got any other comments or thoughts on this topic for tonight?
Or have any of you ever seen Bigfoot? Because I'd like to talk about that too.
Not on this podcast. Or not on this video.
Oh, is that our other show? Okay, never mind. Sorry, I get the two mixed up. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, we're going to do a Bigfoot live stream after this. No.
Okay.
No, 2 weeks ago we did the 5x5 drawing and all that, so we had a couple winners there with that, which was nice. Brent and I've been talking about.
Glenn, Bigfoot? Can he dive? I don't know.
It's a good question.
I don't think so.
What do you?
Next week, I'm trying to get a guest on. Since Babe's not available and you're not available, I'm trying to get another guest on, which I'll be making an announcement as soon as I find that out if that's going to work out or not. So we'll see. Otherwise, it may just be me.
Gaston.
No, not Gaston.
You're like, we're going to get another Gaston.
With that in mind, why don't you just tell the people where they can find us?
No, I'm not going to do that. We do have to talk because we've been talking about this for like 6 months now.
Mm-hmm,
Got to do the food episode coming up here soon. Yeah, we got to once June wraps up, because June is just crazy stupid busy for me, but we're going to do the food episode.
And I will say this, there is a week in July where it will not work because I may be remote doing it. We're not going to say where yet because I want to get everything handled. But, well, there's some things I got to get finalized first.
Okay. But, I mean, we kind of have talked about it quite a bit.
But I'm saying it's not 100%.
It's not 100%. Okay, guys. We're gonna wrap this up like a present, okay?
Thank you, everybody, by the way, for interacting in your comments and your thoughts tonight. I appreciate it very much. That was my hope, was that people would be interacting with this one here. So thank you very much.
Are you gonna stop interrupting me so I can do this, or
go for it?
All right, guys. See this down here? AtlantaSeaColony.com. That's where you can go to find all of our socials. We're on that Facebook. We're on that Twitter. We're on that Instagram. We're on that TikTok. We're on YouTube. You go find it. Just find it. We're there. Just go there and you can find all of our stuff. Also, if you guys are feeling generous, we hate bugging you guys about this, but if you're feeling generous, we got patreon.com/AtlantaSeaColony. If you want to donate $1 a month or $5 a month, you can do that. Do it on kind of like a subscription monthly basis. Do that. Help some of your good buddies at Atlanta Sea Colony out with that. We do have some patrons that are already do that every month. We got Edward Haas, Brian Acosta, and S. Babe Hyde. So thank you guys for that. Also, say you're like, hey, I have $8.35 that I don't even know what to do with it. You could be like, hey, I'm going to go to PayPal and I'm going to give that $8.35 to my good friends over at Atlanta Sea Colony. So you can go to www.paypal.me/Atlanta Sea Colony. You can use that to make a one-time donation. So big or small doesn't matter. You can use that, and that's like I said, a one-time thing. You can just do whatever that goes to helping us out with all the stuff.
And the simplify it too, both those links are right there on ASCcolony.com. So if you don't have to remember these links, just go to ASCcolony.com and it's right there.
Yeah, it's mobile friendly too.
That's true.
I feel like people shouldn't have to say that if you don't have a mobile friendly website by now.
Yeah, I agree. You need to rethink your life.
Yeah, your whole life. Wow, I don't know if I can go that far. Just get out of the business. Or you can go over to AtlanticSeaColony.com/merch. We got some cool stuff up over there. Got like everything you can think of. We got hats, hoodies, shirts, mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, face masks. Not that you really need those much anymore. There's a lot of places that are kind of scaling back on that. But it's still a cool thing. Think about it, like 20 years from now, people will be like, Grandpa, what's this? And you'll be like, that's an Atlantic Sea Colony face mask. And they're like, what's Atlantic Sea Colony and what's a face mask? And say, let me tell you about COVID-19. Anyways.
I don't know if Richard can hear us, but thank you, Richard. Yes, we were talking about you. Thank you for all your kind words.
Yes, and best of luck with your adventures out there, and hopefully we can get you on sometime. That'd be really cool. What else was I going to say? So the merch. There's a bunch of cool stuff in there. Totes, mugs, I said, phone cases, stuff like that. A little bit of everything over there, so go check it out. Plus a lot of cool new designs. Up over there, we got the new hammerhead design. I really like that. Plus, Brendan's always working on getting us some new designs too. So
yeah, Babe actually had a really good idea for a design I'm going to be working on this week too. So hopefully we'll have that because I'm excited about his design too.
Sweet. So that's that, guys. Thank you again for jumping in and helping out with the discussion, talking with us. We will be back every Tuesday, same Atlantic Sea Colony time, same Atlantic Sea Colony place. Except for you'll get Brendan and a special guest next week. You won't get my handsome face for like 2 weeks yet. So,
or you may just get me. We don't. You
might just get Brendan. So
maybe just me.
All right, guys. Thanks again, and we will see you soon.